The Saiyan ship crashes in the desert, and a woman finds him, brings him back to her tribe, and presents him to the pharaoh. The pharaoh finds this creature interesting, but he could be dangerous, and orders his guard to kill it. Ignoring the woman's protests, the guard plunges a finishing blow into the child, but the child is unharmed and is more durable than the pharaoh had predicted. The guard wants to try again, but the pharaoh stops him. He says that this child could be a major asset as long as he can be controlled. And this is how the story of Dragon Ball Infinite begins.
Know your place, worm. Prepare yourself. Damn Saiyan.
Now, between the unfortunate passing of Stan Lee, the Detective Pikachu trailer dropping, and my addiction to Red Dead Redemption 2, I was able to find a brand new Dragon Ball fan manga for you guys. This is Dragon Ball Infinite, and it essentially tells the story of God Ki, the beginning of the gods, the god of destruction, and the Beerus race. Now, this story takes place well before the events of Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball Z. It is at the start, the beginning of the Dragon Ball universes, before there were really any gods to speak of. As we saw the Saiyan crash into the desert, this is the story of this Saiyan. His name is Taima, and he has landed on this planet by accident through some sort of wormhole slip in time, landed on this planet, and this planet is very reminiscent of ancient Egypt, even has a pharaoh, but the race that inhabits this planet is the Beerus race. Chapter 1 begins with the pharaoh sending off Taima and a few others to go collect water from the life stream, bring it back to the city for the pharaoh to drink. Taima heads into the desert alone because the rest of the recruits don't want to hang out with him. They seem to be rather specious to anybody that's not one of them. Unfortunately, halfway to the live stream, Taima runs out of water, out of food, and is left for dead in the desert until he's saved by a character that looks very much like Champa. This guy and his father live by the live stream, and they have been hoarding food there and water and supplies away from the main city. Now, the reason they have not been caught because none of the Beerus race really want to go near the live stream, near the water, because they are afraid they're going to be sinking in and never be able to come out if they accidentally fall into the water. So I see the parallel between cats not liking water, and that's pretty cool that they kind of added this into the story. He gives Taima some supplies, and Taima heads off back into the desert and finally makes it to the river. Now, this river is called the Nile, and he needs to cross it to get to the island that the live stream is on. He finds the rest of the recruits there, but they're kind of bickering on who's going to go on the boat, who's going to risk their life to go and get this live stream for the pharaoh, and Taima just jumps on and heads right over. This definitely feels like an adventure tale, and it's even told as an adventure tale. As soon as he gets there, a giant fish comes out and tries to eat him, but Taima's not scared of no fish. He grabs the fish, and now he's cooking it in the sun for later on so he can feast. He finally gets into the caverns where the water is held, and he is met by the exposition character, because this character, all he does is tell Taima the lore of Dragon Ball Infinite. Now, normally this could be an iffy moment for any story, movie, comic book, TV show, because a character that just says exposition isn't very interesting, but what makes this character a little bit more interesting is that he sort of seems like a character you would see on Aqua Teen Hunger Force or some other Adult Swim show, because he keeps interrupting Taima because he thinks Taima's going to interrupt his story because he has the power of foresight and he knows Taima's going to interrupt the story. So he continuously does that as he's explaining the lore. So this character's name is Mirai, and he is the brother of the pharaoh. Now, they both come from the same being, but they are the eldest of their tribe. So basically, Mirai runs the bird people tribe, which he's the only character that we've seen so far in that species. And then Genzai runs the Beerus race tribe. They both come from the same being called Kokonakami, and this is a sorcerer that came to this planet and realized that the planet had an abundance of ki. So he used his sorcery to create a machine to draw all the ki and all the energy out of the planet, and created God ki in the process. Now, the water that they're using right now, the water that the pharaoh's seeking, is the God ki water. And when Kukunakami drank the water was so concentrated that it created a physical deity. He was a god now. Once he became a god, he split up two portions of his own being and created both Mirai and Genzai, and both of them got two aspects of his power. Mirai got his foresight, so he can tell the future. Genzai got his strength. He was extremely powerful. Now, Mirai explains that Genzai, the pharaoh, has basically brainwashed the tribe and has made them work for him, create a civilization for him, but he does need the life water to keep him immortal. So that's the reason that he sends people out for the expedition, to get the life water and bring it back to him. Now, there is a catch. The life water is a resource that is limited. It is finite. So Mirai has already seen this, so he knows at some point that Genzai is going to declare war against Mirai's people and enslave them for the god water. So this to me means that the Beerus race is far more populous. There are far more of them than there are of the bird race. He actually might be the only one left. So why is Mirai telling Taima all this? Well, he has foreseen a great future for Taima. He knows that there is something important that happens to this character. But before that can happen, he goes and tells him that he needs to grab the water and bring it back to Genzai the pharaoh, because that is how the future needs to unfold. That was his purpose there. And of course, Taima's mission was to get the water for the pharaoh. So he's like, all right, no problem. Grabs the water and boogies it back home. And that is the end of chapter 1. It's extremely rare to find a Dragon Ball fan manga that has to deal with the Beerus race. It is even more rare for it to tell you the origins of God Ki, but overall, I really did like this one. I like how they're going all the way back into ancient times, plus the fact that there really isn't much action or fighting in this one. It's more of an adventure tale. It really makes you want to see what the next chapter has. And for all you guys who want to read it, I'm going to have a link in the description below for the Facebook page that has all 3 of these chapters. There are 3 of them right now. Make sure you go ahead and check them out. Anyway, guys, that's all I got for you today. This is going to be BlackScape signing off. Take care, guys.